got a marked unit failing to yield speeds over 120. He's not stopping.
Put your hands out of the window right now.
Ma'am, I'm a police officer. I'm on duty.
You were running 120 miles per hour. You didn't stop when I lit you up. Step out of the vehicle.
You're really doing this?
I don't care what you are. You put every person on this.
Florida Highway Patrol Trooper Donna was 35 years old on October 11, 2011, when she saw a Miami Police Patrol car fly past her at 120 miles per hour. She chased it for 7 minutes. When it finally stopped, she arrested the driver at gunpoint. He was Miami Police Officer Fausto, in full uniform, who expected professional courtesy. What Donna did next, refusing to let a cop slide for reckless driving, would trigger the most vicious retaliation campaign in Florida law enforcement history. 88 police officers from 25 different agencies would illegally access her personal information over 200 times. They would stalk her, threaten her life, force her to flee her home, and destroy her career. But it would also spark a Pulitzer Prize-winning investigation, expose systemic police corruption, result in a $200,000 settlement, and prove that the blue wall will destroy any cop who dares to hold other cops accountable. Before we dive deeper into this absolutely shocking story, hit that subscribe button if you believe in holding authority figures accountable when they abuse their power. October 11, 2011. 7:15 a.m. Florida's Turnpike. Trooper Donna was on routine patrol when a marked Miami Police Patrol car blew past her at over 120 miles per hour, weaving dangerously through morning traffic. She activated her lights and siren. The patrol car didn't stop, kept going. For 7 full minutes, Donna pursued the speeding police vehicle as it continued driving recklessly, changing lanes without signaling, threatening every driver on the road. Her dashboard camera recorded everything. She radioed dispatch, "I don't know what's going on. He's not stopping. He's all over the road." Finally, the patrol car pulled over. Donna approached with her weapon drawn, not knowing if the vehicle had been stolen. Behind the wheel sat Officer Fausto, in full Miami police uniform, looking annoyed. "Put your hands out of the window, right now," Donna commanded. Fausto identified himself immediately. "Ma'am, I'm Officer Fausto, Miami Police. I'm heading to an off-duty job in Coconut Grove." "You were running 120 miles per hour," Donna responded. "You didn't stop when I activated my lights. Step out of the vehicle. You're under arrest for reckless driving." Fausto was incredulous. "You're really going to do this? You're arresting another officer. You broke the law. You put lives at risk." Donna handcuffed Fausto and placed him in her patrol car. The entire encounter was captured on camera. A Miami cop in full uniform being arrested like any civilian. Fausto was taken to Broward County Jail and charged with reckless driving. Within hours, the story spread through law enforcement circles. Not as a story about a dangerous driver being stopped, as a story about a female trooper who had violated the code by arresting a fellow officer. And for that violation, Donna would pay a price she never imagined. What started as a routine traffic stop was about to become a nightmare. Within days, Donna's personal cell phone started ringing constantly. Hang-up calls, heavy breathing, sometimes voices, "You did wrong. Watch your back. You shouldn't have done that." Her unlisted home address, which she'd kept private for safety, was somehow compromised. Pizza deliveries started arriving at her door, ordered by anonymous callers who knew exactly where she lived. Unmarked cars began parking on her quiet street, idling for hours, then driving away when she approached. Donna became terrified. She checked under her car every morning for tampering. She approached her mailbox from the side, afraid of what might be inside. She couldn't sleep, couldn't feel safe in her own home. Her colleagues at Florida Highway Patrol were divided. Some supported her decision to arrest Fausto. Others made it clear she'd gone too far, that she should have given professional courtesy, that she'd made law enforcement look bad. But Donna suspected something more organized was happening. The harassment felt coordinated. Whoever was targeting her knew too much. Her address, her phone number, her daily routine. She filed a public records request with the Florida Department of Highway Safety, asking for a list of every law enforcement officer who had accessed her personal information in the state's driver and vehicle information database, known as David. What came back was beyond anything she could have imagined. Could an entire system really be this corrupt? The report revealed a conspiracy so massive it was almost incomprehensible. In the 3 months following her arrest of Fausto, 88 law enforcement officers from 25 different police agencies had illegally accessed Donna's personal information over 200 times. 88 officers, 200 searches, 25 agencies. The database contained everything: her home address, photograph, social security number, date of birth, vehicle information. Information supposed to be confidential, accessed only for legitimate law enforcement purposes. But there was no legitimate reason for 88 officers to look up Donna's information 200 times. This was harassment. This was retaliation. This was the blue wall punishing the officer who dared to arrest one of their own. Officers from Miami Police, Broward Sheriff's Office, Hollywood Police, Lauderhill Police, Orlando Police, Orange County Sheriff, and dozens more had scrolled through her personal data. Some accessed it once. Others did it repeatedly, page after page, saving her photo, noting every detail. When Internal Affairs investigated, the excuses were absurd. I wanted to see what she looked like for officer safety. I needed to identify her in case I encountered her on duty. I was curious, but computer logs told the truth. Officers had scrolled through multiple pages of information far beyond what identification would require. They'd accessed it late at night from home computers. They'd shared it with other officers. They had weaponized law enforcement databases to target a fellow officer who had done her job. Should police have access to databases if 88 of them will abuse them for revenge? The harassment wasn't limited to Donna. It extended to other Florida highway patrol troopers, sending a message: cross Miami Police and you'll pay. FHP Trooper Joe, who had nothing to do with the Fausto arrest, woke up to find his patrol car covered in human feces. Gallons of it, smeared across the windshield, hood, and doors. The message was clear. This is what happens when you don't show professional courtesy. Another FHP corporal was pulled over by a Miami officer in what appeared to be a retaliatory traffic stop, far outside the Miami officer's jurisdiction. The stop had no legitimate basis. Pure harassment. On police internet forums, Miami officers posted openly about Donna. Some posts were threatening. She better watch her back. If she ever needs backup, she won't get it. Female troopers who don't know their place need to be taught a lesson. The tension between Miami Police and Florida Highway Patrol reached such extremes that administrators organized a charity softball game in December 2011, hoping friendly competition would ease the animosity. Miami Police won 17-3. The tensions remained. Donna's supervisors delivered devastating news. They didn't believe she could ever safely return to road patrol. If she got into a situation needing backup from other law enforcement, they feared no one would respond. A female trooper who arrested a male cop had become radioactive. Donna realized she would have to fight back. Not with harassment, but with the law. But would the law actually protect her, or would it protect the 88 officers who stalked her? While Donna dealt with harassment, investigators examined Fausto's driving history. What they found was stunning. Toll records from Florida's Turnpike SunPass system revealed that Fausto had been caught speeding over 90 miles per hour more than 80 times in the months leading up to his arrest. 80 times. He regularly drove between his home and assignments at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour, often hitting 110 or 120. He wasn't responding to emergencies. He was just impatient, arrogant, and confident no one would stop him because he was a cop. The Sun-Sentinel newspaper expanded its investigation to examine all South Florida law enforcement speeding. What they found was explosive. In 2011 alone, 800 police officers from a dozen agencies had driven their cruisers above 90 miles per hour, mostly while off-duty. A 13-month investigation found 5,100 high-speed incidents. About half involved officers outside their jurisdictions, meaning they clearly weren't responding to emergencies. The investigation found 21 incidents where civilians were killed or severely disabled after being struck by speeding police officers driving 120 miles per hour or more. The most severe punishment from any of those cases: 60 days in jail. In 88% of cases where an officer speeding caused an accident, the officer wasn't even cited. Compare that to 55% of regular citizens being cited in similar accidents. Professional courtesy wasn't about small favors. It was about creating a protected class who could endanger the public with zero consequences. Fausto pleaded no contest to reckless driving in April 2012. He received 100 hours of community service and $3,300 in fines. No jail time, but Miami police fired him in September 2012 after their internal investigation revealed the extent of his reckless driving. One bad cop was off the streets, but 88 others had harassed the trooper who stopped him, and none had faced meaningful consequences. That was about to change. In December 2012, Donna filed a 69-page federal lawsuit against over 100 defendants, 88 individual officers, 25 police agencies, and the Florida Department of Highway Safety. The lawsuit alleged violations of the Driver Privacy Protection Act, DPPA, a 1994 federal law prohibiting unauthorized disclosure of personal information from motor vehicle records. The law provides $2,500 penalties for each violation. With over 200 unauthorized accesses, potential damages were enormous. Donna's attorney detailed the harassment: threatening calls, pizza deliveries, strange vehicles outside her home, the fear that consumed her life. She had become a hermit, afraid to open her mailbox, afraid to start her car, afraid that officers sworn to protect and serve were stalking and threatening her. Her supervisors acknowledged she could never safely return to road patrol. If she needed backup in an emergency, they feared officers from other agencies wouldn't respond. Her career as a road trooper was effectively over. The lawsuit sought over $1 million in damages and demanded accountability. Some agencies settled immediately, recognizing they couldn't defend the indefensible. Others fought, claiming their officers accessed Donna's information for legitimate purposes. Over the next several years, 83 of the 88 officers settled. Computer logs showed exactly who had accessed her information, when, and for how long. The evidence was overwhelming. But 5 Miami police officers refused to settle. They chose to fight, confident the blue wall would protect them. Would they be right? Initially, a federal district judge ruled in Donna's favor, finding the officers had clearly violated the DPPA. But the 5 Miami officers appealed to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. In February 2017, 5 years after the harassment began, the 11th Circuit issued a shocking decision. A 3-judge panel overturned the ruling and granted qualified immunity to the 5 officers. The court ruled that while the officers had clearly accessed Donna's information, and while their own departments had found they violated policy and disciplined them, the law wasn't clearly established enough to hold them legally liable. The reasoning relied on technicalities. The DPPA prohibits accessing personal information for impermissible purposes, but doesn't explicitly list every possible improper purpose. Because officers claimed they accessed the information for officer safety, even though they scrolled through multiple pages, they deserved immunity. Translation: the officers admitted accessing her information. Their departments found they violated policy, but because the law didn't specifically say you can't access information to harass a fellow officer, they faced no legal consequences. The Miami Fraternal Order of Police celebrated publicly. Union President Javier Ortiz tweeted, "FOP wins and beats FHP Donna lawsuit. All Miami cops were found not guilty. It pays to be a Miami FOP member." The message was clear. We can harass you, stalk you, terrorize you, and even when we're caught and disciplined, we'll face no real consequences. After years of fighting, after settlements proving what happened was wrong, 5 officers walked free. But there was one victory that would change everything. The Sun-Sentinel's investigation into police speeding had expanded into a comprehensive examination of law enforcement's culture of impunity. The newspaper series, Above the Law, Speeding Cops, exposed systemic abuse across South Florida. The investigation showed hundreds of officers driving at dangerous speeds while off duty, dozens of civilians killed by reckless police driving, and a culture where professional courtesy meant officers never faced consequences for behavior that would send civilians to prison. The series had been sparked by Donna's arrest of Fausto. Her decision to enforce the law equally, to refuse professional courtesy, had exposed a scandal reaching across Florida law enforcement. In April 2013, the Sun-Sentinel was awarded the Pulitzer Prize Gold Medal for Public Service, the highest honor in American journalism. The Pulitzer Committee praised the series for its well-documented investigation of off-duty police officers who recklessly speed and endanger the lives of citizens. Donna's courage had led to the most prestigious journalism award in America. Her willingness to do her job, despite knowing it would make her a target, had forced accountability on a corrupt system. But she was still living in fear, still unable to return to road patrol, still dealing with trauma from years of harassment. The officers who harassed her were still working, still carrying badges, still protected by a system that valued loyalty over law. Over several years, settlements rolled in. Margate Police paid $10,000. Lauderhill Police paid $7,500. Hollywood Police paid $5,000. City after city, agency after agency settled with Donna. Each settlement came with an admission, explicit or implicit, that officers had violated the law, violated department policies, and violated Donna's privacy. In total, 83 of 88 officers settled. Donna received over $200,000 in total settlements, though attorney fees consumed a significant portion. More importantly, she had forced dozens of police departments to acknowledge their officers had broken federal law. But the emotional and professional toll was immeasurable. Donna had joined law enforcement to serve and protect. She believed in the rule of law, that everyone should be held to the same standards. What she learned was that the blue wall was real, powerful, and ruthless. Officers who challenged it became targets. And the system protected the harassers while destroying the whistleblowers. By 2016, Donna remained employed by Florida Highway Patrol but had been permanently removed from road patrol. She relocated from South Florida to the Florida Panhandle, leaving her home and community because it was no longer safe. She continued receiving settlements, but no amount of money could restore what she'd lost. Her career doing the work she loved, her sense of safety, her trust in fellow officers. In interviews, Donna remained professional. She didn't regret arresting Fausto. She maintained she had done her job, enforced the law, protected public safety. But she acknowledged the price. Her career, her safety, her trust in law enforcement, all damaged or destroyed because she treated a speeding cop like any speeding driver. The Fausto Donna case forced a national conversation about professional courtesy, the informal code where officers let fellow officers off for violations that would result in tickets or arrests for civilians. Defenders argued it was harmless, that officers deal with enough stress that a warning for speeding was reasonable. Critics pointed out it created a protected class above the law. The Sun-Sentinel investigation proved this culture directly endangered public safety. 21 civilians killed or permanently disabled by speeding officers. In 88% of cases where an officer speeding caused an accident, no citation was issued. Professional courtesy wasn't about warnings for minor violations. It was about letting officers drive 120 miles per hour with impunity, about protecting drunk drivers with badges, about ensuring that no matter what an officer did, fellow officers would cover for them. The retaliation against Donna showed what happened when an officer refused that courtesy. She became the enemy, not Fausto. She was harassed and threatened, not the officer who endangered lives. Research into police misconduct reveals officers who report wrongdoing face retaliation at rates exceeding 70%. A study by the National Whistleblower Center found police officers who reported corruption, excessive force, or misconduct experienced harassment, transfers, denial of backup, and termination at far higher rates than officers who remained silent. The same databases used to stalk Donna have been abused countless times. Officers stalking ex-girlfriends, looking up attractive women from traffic stops, accessing records of people who filed complaints against them, monitoring journalists and activists. In Florida alone, audits found thousands of improper database accesses by officers in years following the Donna case. Most resulted in minimal discipline. The technology that gives law enforcement necessary tools also gives individual officers immense power to invade privacy. And when those officers are protected by qualified immunity, by police unions, by departments that prioritize loyalty over accountability, the abuse continues. Following the scandal, several Florida police departments implemented policy changes. The Florida Department of Highway Safety enhanced monitoring of database access. New protocols required documented legitimate purposes for every access, supervisory review of frequent accesses, and immediate investigation of suspicious patterns. Penalties increased. Previously, officers caught improperly accessing databases received written reprimands or brief suspensions. New policies mandated termination for accessing information for harassment or retaliation. Some states passed laws explicitly prohibiting law enforcement officers from accessing motor vehicle databases for personal reasons, closing loopholes Miami officers had exploited. Florida Highway Patrol strengthened policies requiring supervisory approval before giving courtesy to fellow officers stopped for serious violations. Officers were required to document in writing why warnings were given instead of citations. But critics noted policy changes meant nothing if culture didn't change. And changing police culture, especially the blue wall's protection of law-breaking officers, required more than updated manuals. Despite reforms, the culture of protecting fellow officers at all costs persists. Donna's case was extraordinary not because what happened was unusual, but because it became public. Officers who report misconduct still face retaliation far more often than support. The term whistleblower in policing often means career suicide. Officers who report excessive force, evidence planting, or false arrests find themselves isolated, threatened, and pushed out. The blue wall doesn't just protect officers from civilian complaints. It protects them from accountability within their own ranks. And officers who challenge it pay a severe price. As of 2025, more than 13 years after she arrested Fausto, Donna remains employed by Florida Highway Patrol but has never returned to road patrol. She works in an administrative capacity in the Panhandle, far from South Florida where the harassment occurred. She gives occasional interviews and speaks at law enforcement training sessions about ethics, integrity, and the costs of doing the right thing. She doesn't regret arresting Fausto, but she's honest about the price. "I joined law enforcement to serve and protect," she told one interviewer. "I didn't realize that serving the public would make me the enemy of fellow officers." Fausto has remained out of public view since his termination. His law enforcement career ended. He became a cautionary tale, but not as an example of accountability, as an officer who got caught when someone refused professional courtesy. The 88 officers who illegally accessed Donna's information remain employed in various agencies across Florida. Most received written reprimands, brief suspensions, or no discipline at all. The 5 Miami officers who fought the lawsuit and won on appeal continue their careers, protected by qualified immunity. Police departments involved implemented policy changes, but whether those reflect cultural shifts or simply better legal cover remains unclear. Officers still speed. Departments still often look the other way. The badge still provides protections civilians don't have. And officers who dare to hold fellow officers accountable still face risks most people can't imagine. Donna made a choice on October 11, 2011, that defined her career and exposed a corrupt system. When she saw a police officer endangering lives at 120 miles per hour, she could have let him go. Professional courtesy would have been easy. No one would have criticized her. But Donna didn't take the easy choice. She followed that patrol car for 7 minutes, arrested the driver at gunpoint, and charged him with reckless driving. She treated a police officer the same way she would treat any civilian endangering the public. And for that, 88 officers stalked her, threatened her, accessed her private information 200 times, destroyed her career, and forced her to flee her home. But she also became proof that doing the right thing matters even when the cost is high. Her courage sparked a Pulitzer Prize-winning investigation exposing systemic corruption. Her lawsuit forced dozens of agencies to settle and acknowledge their officers broke the law. Her refusal to back down showed other officers that integrity still existed in policing. The blue wall is powerful, but not invincible. Every officer who refuses to participate in corruption, who reports misconduct, who enforces the law equally, weakens that wall. Donna paid a terrible price. She lost her career in road patrol, her sense of safety, her trust in fellow officers. But she kept her integrity. And she proved the badge doesn't place anyone above the law. Her legacy is complicated. She's a hero to those who believe police should be accountable. She's a traitor to those who believe loyalty to other officers trumps everything. She's a cautionary tale to officers considering reporting misconduct. But she's also an example that the system can be challenged, that corruption can be exposed, that doing the right thing matters even when it costs everything. Officers in training still watch the dashboard camera video of Donna arresting Fausto. Some see an officer who went too far, who should have given professional courtesy. Others see exactly what police should be, professionals who enforce the law equally, who don't let the badge excuse dangerous behavior, who put public safety above loyalty. Which interpretation wins will determine the future of American law enforcement. So here's my question. Should officers who illegally access databases to harass fellow officers face criminal charges and lose their badges permanently? Should qualified immunity be eliminated for officers who violate clearly documented policies? And should departments that fail to stop retaliation against whistleblowers be held financially liable? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This story proves that doing the right thing in law enforcement can destroy your career. But it also shows that courage can expose corruption, spark nationwide reform, and inspire others to demand accountability. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.